Hey everyone, Dave here. I just wanted to do a sort of a quick update video, let you know some of the things that I'm kind of excited about working on over the course of the next few weeks in terms of videos and some other types of posts that will be going on my over on my Facebook page, as well as videos that will be going up on my YouTube channel. First, I actually want to start with some stuff over on my Facebook page. So I want to be a little bit more active, I think, with Facebook and try to make better use of that page to sort of supplement the YouTube channel. So, for example, last week at the time that I'm recording this, I uploaded, or I guess not upload is probably not the right phrase. I posted the first in a series that I like to call Bounty Hunting, which is just sort of a series of individual encounters that are meant to be used by people that can be dropped into just about any ongoing campaign. Like, they're not going to be something that's very specific to a particular setting, or even going so far as to properly naming NPCs other than the ones you might be facing within the encounter itself. Though there will be suggestions on how to introduce the scenario, as well as sort of things you can do in the aftermath of the scenario. So the first one, which is called Displaced General, I think was the name that I had for it. So it was like Bounty Hunting Part 1 or Episode 1 or whatever the title was. And it's just like I said, it's a single encounter. They're not really meant to be much more than that. It's something to sort of fill gaps, or just let the players do something outside of the main story to either earn some extra income, or just as sort of like just a side quest that you could do. And there are ways to incorporate that, like I said, into ongoing games. You could take, the NPC, for example, and elude to him, or whoever it is that you're going up against. And they will be done for 5th edition D&D, 2nd edition Pathfinder, and I am hoping to do some for Starfinder as well. I'm also hoping to do at least one or two for the Dragon Age role-playing game, and the main purpose of them are really to be easy to use. So for the most part, at least early on, I'm going to try to avoid using customized NPCs or creatures. I want to use things that are just readily available, either through bestiaries or monster manuals, or taking NPCs from the 2nd edition Pathfinder Game Mastery Guide. So they're going to be pretty generic in terms of that. So what I'm giving you is just sort of this little scenario, how to introduce it, or at least suggestions on how to introduce it, and some possibilities of what to do sort of after the fact. So it's something that I actually really enjoy doing the first one of, and essentially I'm just going to use maps, pre-existing maps that I have, because I'm not graphically talented to try to make my own. But I do have the combat book sent to me by P-Works Wargames, and other just ready-made maps to go that I can use for that as well. And I just basically take a picture of it with the minis. If I have too many different types of minis, which I'm going to also try to avoid, then I might take pictures of the individual mini types and let you know which ones the sort of overhead picture displays. But for the most part, it'll only be one or two creature types, and I try to make them different enough that it'd be easy to extrapolate based off of what you see on the map, sort of similar to some of the tactical maps from previous editions of other role-playing games. So that's the first thing, and like I said, one of those is available now. You just go over to my Facebook page. There's a link in the description below, and it's in notes. There's also some adventures that I had written for my campaigns or for one-shots that are available there as well. So that's one thing that I want to do with that. Another thing that I'm honestly planning on doing is maybe a few written reviews in place of doing some video ones, at least for the time being. The issue is right now, with the self-isolation and social distancing thing, it's difficult for me, if not impossible, to record videos during the day. It's typically, later at night, like it's already well after midnight at the time that I'm recording this here, and I'm going to be working on another video after this. And it's just one of those things that sort of takes its toll. I find that I start to lose my voice, or right around the time that I was getting ready to set up the camera to begin this, I had a really bad acid reflux attack that just sort of came out of nowhere. Which does happen sometimes at night. It's not too often. I did have sort of spicier food than I normally would for supper, so I think that's part of it. But anyway, so I will be doing a few written reviews. The two main things that I'm going to be doing written reviews for, probably over the course of the next couple of weeks, is going to be the first chapter of the Extinction Curse Pathfinder 2nd Edition Adventure Path. The Show Must Go On, that was sent to me by Paizo, so I'll be doing a written review for that. And I'm also going to be doing a written review for the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount as well. Just because, again, it'd be easier for me to get my thoughts, I think, written down, at least at this point in time, because by the time I get a chance to record, it gets pretty rough. I mean, everyone's home during the day, and I don't like doing videos when there's people up and around. It's one of those sort of hang-ups and self-conscious aspects of my personality that it just, unfortunately, is just the way that it sort of is. But more on top of that, just the noises from the apartment building right now, with the people that live below our apartment during the day, is incredibly loud and disruptive, with like just children thumping and running around and smashing and crashing, slamming doors, and it's kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. And this, with everything that's going on right now, it's not the time to be, reporting people for stuff like that. So it just, like I said, just makes recording videos harder to do at night, or during the day, I should say, which forced me to do them at night. And by the time that I get the opportunity to do those videos, I'm generally exhausted to the point where I have trouble maintaining my stream of thought. I have trouble maintaining my voice. So anyway, that's just sort of what I'm going to do, a few things over there. Plus, like I said, it's an opportunity to get more stuff on the Facebook page, that's sort of exclusive content to that. The next thing I want to talk about is the video that I'm going to be starting to work on right after I finish recording this sort of update. And when I was doing there's a couple things that I was starting to think about. Number one, last week I recorded my, the differences, the evolution of the D&D official dice sets from Wizards of the Coast. And I really enjoyed doing that video, and it made me think back to something along those lines pertaining to the role-playing game that I had done some of and really enjoyed. And that was sometime shortly after 5th edition came out. I started a video series discussing the specific classes and sort of going through their various abilities, and it was a series that a lot of people enjoyed, and a lot of people said that they did find the information helpful, and I did try to justify the information that I was providing in those videos based off of Q&As with Wizards of the Coast developers at the time. So it was enjoyable, but there were only a few instances where I felt it was kind of important to have that information out there. But then it just sort of felt like I had to carry on with it. And honestly, it was something that was not a lot of fun for me to do, because it was just basically me essentially reading from the book, especially because there was only so many abilities that were kind of nebulous in terms of how they functioned, that needed further description. But there were a couple of those videos where I discussed the history of the class throughout various editions of the Dungeons & Dragons game. And that's something that I want to pick back up, and it's a series that I'm be excited about because it's going over the history and progression of certain elements of the game. So one of the things that would be fun to sort of do is discuss some of the different classes and how they've changed over the various editions. And that could be something that catapults or springboards into other aspects of the game. Maybe talking about like the evolution of a particular spell, or like feats or class features, or things along those lines. So it's something that sort of opens a lot of doors, a lot of possibilities. And it's just something that I think would be a lot of fun to do. But I do want to discuss sort of what that entails and what I'm able to do in terms of that type of video. So the one I'm going to be working on today, I'm just going to be going through them sort of in alphabetical order, based off of right now the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook. So I'm actually going to be looking into the history of the Barbarian class. Now there are a few things, like I said, that I want to just make abundantly clear. I only ever feel comfortable talking about things from books that I actually own and have the ability to look through and read through. Doesn't mean I won't get some things wrong, or I won't misinterpret things or missay things as I'm doing these videos, especially if I'm recording them late at night, as I have to for the time being. But at the very least, that way I know that if, I screwed up, it's because I screwed up. But I will try to get as accurate information out there as possible when it comes to the history of these classes. I'm mainly going to be limiting myself to either their first or earliest appearance within the officially printed material for the Dungeons & Dragons game. So things like the 0 edition booklets will be things that I will be looking through and sort of discussing how it affects certain classes that appear in there. Otherwise, it'll be based off of things like the player's handbooks, and I'm going to try to limit myself to the core rule books for the most part. There are a couple of notable exceptions, and the Barbarian is certainly one of them. However, if I don't have access to a class from an edition, and right now I'm mainly talking about 2nd edition AD&D, because I don't have a ton of books from that version of the game, which is kind of ironic because that's where I started with. That was the first edition that I began playing. So I will sort of mention if the class was part of that edition or not, and what sources they might be found in, but I won't discuss actual abilities or rules pertaining to that class, because number one, I don't have the book to really read through and see for myself, and I don't really want to trust people answering forum posts or Wikipedia. In fact, interestingly enough, the 2nd edition AD&D Barbarian entry for the Barbarian Wikipedia page goes into all kinds of information for the 1st edition and 3rd edition and so on, but the 2nd edition one just gives like two sentences. And that's basically it. So for the Barbarian in particular, which is the only one I've been looking at so far, that was really kind of frustrating to basically spend about an hour or so doing Google searches, going through forum posts, Wikipedia, other things, and just finding nothing. In fact, the Barbarian's Handbook for 2nd edition isn't even available on DM's Guild, at all. So, or at least it hasn't. I wasn't able to find it searching for it directly. So, anyway, I will talk about the stuff that I have, and I may reference where you may find stuff from books that I don't have. But if I don't have the book, I'm not going to talk about it. However, if you guys watching, if you have access to those books, when those videos come out, feel free to describe the aspects of the game that I missed because I don't have the product in the comments, or even better, if you have a channel that you actually upload stuff to, absolutely do like a video response and fill in those blanks, because it's something that, it's just a communal thing that I'm always, happy to be informed by, people that have access to things that I don't. I also thought it might be fun to do the same thing as a companion video for the Pathfinder role-playing game, because there are 3 different versions of Pathfinder currently available. There's the first edition core rulebook, which I do have, the playtest rulebook, and then there is the second edition, the finalized second edition rule set. So it'd be kind of fun to sort of go through and do it for those as well. When it comes to Pathfinder, the Alchemist class I can't really talk about at this point because I don't have the first edition book that they appear in. I used to, but I got rid of it because I didn't think I would ever have a use for it, and I wanted it to go to someone who would actually use it and appreciate it, and it did. Ultimately, it did. But I just thought it'd be sort of fun to do that. So that's sort of what's going to be going on for the next little while, and it's something I'm really looking forward to. And like I said, don't forget to check out the Facebook page and just go through, the bounty hunts or the scenarios that I've already posted, as well as look out for the written reviews that I will be doing there over the course of the next couple of weeks. And when it comes to the adventures and scenarios and stuff like that, I'm not a professional game designer. I don't pretend to be, and for a lot of those scenarios, they were designed specifically for a group that I was running, and the group that, for some of them, the groups were quite large. So if it looks a little unbalanced, it's just because the fact that the group that I was running for was slightly over twice the size. Well, I shouldn't say that. It was about 1.5 times the size of a normal group. Sometimes it was over twice the size of a standard group of like four to six, with 5 sort of being the average there. So anyway, I just wanted to get that update out, and look out for through the what I'm going to call Through the Ages is sort of going to be the header that I use for this new series. So the Barbarian video should be out within the next couple of days. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that, and hopefully you'll enjoy the series as a whole, because right now it looks like something that I'm going to really enjoy going through and doing. So thank you guys very much for your patience and your understanding through this time, and for putting up with really tired, groggy Dave trying to put videos out as best I can during these difficult times. So all your support really does mean the world to me. So I can't thank you guys enough. So like I said, I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.